the first to welcome each one of you to the East Metro Economic Prosperity Forum presented by Wells Fargo. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us today to address some of the most pressing concerns in our region. As we start, I would like to bring up our president, Ken Anderton from the Port of Portland. Let's everyone give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Jarvis, and thank you all for attending today. As I've worked the room here, I'm amazed at the diversity of folks we have here, and that's part of our mission here at East Metro Economic Alliance, is connecting both business, government, nonprofit, other sectors of the economy, businesses, and creating prosperity for our region. And we can't do that just sitting at our desks. We have to get out, mingle, meet each other, talk about issues, and figure out how to resolve some of the more complex ones. So Jarvis says I only have 1 minute, so I just wanted to take that time to thank you all, thank our sponsors. Please feel free to ask questions, talk to your neighbors, make friends, and enjoy your time here. Thank you very much.
Coming up first is Commissioner Lori Stegmann of Multnomah County, District 4. We appreciate her taking the time to come out this morning. I know it's budget time, and so we're excited to get her here to bring some remarks. So give a big round of applause, Commissioner Lori Stegmann.
Well, hello. Can I move this down?
You can.
I'm a little bit shorter than Jarvis. All right. All right, well, thank you so much. It's great to be in East County, in my district, and actually my neighborhood home, where I grew up here in Rockwood. So I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to join you at EMEA's Prosperity Forum today. As Jarvis said, my name is Lori Stegmann, and I'm your Multnomah County Commissioner representing District 4. So my district begins at about southeast 148th in Portland, and it extends all the way out to the Hood River County line. So it includes part of Portland, Gresham, Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, and Corbett, and many of the other unincorporated communities, as well as I have the most beautiful district because it has Multnomah Falls and the scenic Columbia River Gorge. So many of you know that I've been a business owner for the last 25 years in East County in the Rockwood neighborhood, and like you, I have witnessed and endured the economic ups and downs that we've all felt. But for communities with higher poverty rates, low educational attainment, and housing and transportation challenges, these cycles have a much deeper effect. Well, on the surface, some may think that the economic upturn lifts all boats. That has not been the case in neighborhoods like Rockwood, where we are today. And when the economic downturns inevitably come, the results are much more far-reaching and devastating for families who are already teetering on the edge. So growing up in the Rockwood neighborhood, I have a lot of fond memories here and really love this community. Also, my business is located here. And when I was growing up, it was very different. Rockwood was mostly a white, middle-class neighborhood. It was a time when a single breadwinner could support an entire family, and home ownership was not out of reach. Today, Rockwood is the youngest, most diverse, lowest income, and most health-challenged neighborhood in the Portland metro region. Post-secondary education and the pathway it provides to living wage careers is a luxury that too many cannot afford. In a time where we have seen our economy boom and the average incomes rise, many have been left out of this opportunity and are still struggling to make ends meet. In East Multnomah County, the area with the highest poverty level in Oregon, there are 54,264 of our residents living in poverty, 57% of whom are people of color. I believe that by reducing barriers, we can clear a path for more of our residents to access housing and employment opportunities, which is why I am so pleased to continue to support initiatives like the Legal Services Day program. This program is held at the Rosewood Initiative, and it provides legal services that can help clear up minor offenses in exchange for community service hours and/or treatment, thus allowing folks to obtain a driver's license, rent a home, qualify for employment, and build stability for their families. I know that Christian Kaler will be going into some important data today, but I wanted to highlight a few areas that have always been apparent to me. Earnings in Multnomah County have not kept pace with earnings in the greater Portland metro area. Between 2007 and 2014, earnings by full-time workers increased by 13% in Portland and decreased 7% in East Multnomah County. We've seen property values increase in West Multnomah County, while home values remain the same in East Multnomah County. If you were to divide the county in half along 82nd Avenue and create two states, West Multnomah County would be one of the wealthiest per capita in the United States, while East Multnomah County would be one of the poorest. This inequity is simply unacceptable. But I believe that we are starting to finally gain traction in calling this out. So I want to thank EMEA for leading this important conversation today. Last year, I secured $50,000 to begin to assess these inequities and develop a strategy forward. And I've been working with East County legislators to address funding formulas which are currently calculated at a county-wide level. That means that the needs in Multnomah County are measured as an average of West Multnomah and East Multnomah County combined. This data needs to be disaggregated. I've been working with Representative Reardon, who has introduced a bill in this legislative session to analyze how current county funding formulas are determined. If successful, this will have a significant impact on the amount of state resources East County could receive. In my role as an East County Commissioner, one of my top priorities is to direct more resources into East County. We must make investments in our community so our residents have access to local jobs and training. Currently, there is a bill, House Bill 2501, or as it is more commonly known, Prosperity 1000, which addresses poverty caused by a reduction in middle-income employment. This bill would restore federal funding for training and jobs and would establish a sustainable program that supports individuals and businesses. Prosperity 1000 would provide career coaching, occupational training, and job placement to 1,000 job seekers who are experiencing poverty. It would establish a model program that unites key workforce and economic development partners that will build the skills of low-income Oregonians, generate federal matching funds, and would be scalable across Oregon's public workforce development system. In this program, state dollars will receive a 50% federal match through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, their 50-50 program, which is targeted for certain industry sectors, which will provide training and employment services to SNAP recipients who live in areas of concentrated poverty statewide. More than 600,000 Oregonians live in poverty, a 66% increase since 2000. In 2013, nearly 20% of Oregon households received SNAP or food stamp benefits, the highest in the nation. More than 40% of Oregon's SNAP recipients are employed in low-wage jobs. This legislation would target geographic areas of concentrated poverty for increased training, support, and access to industry sectors who can offer middle-income employment opportunities. As we often hear, employers grapple with a shortage of skilled labor to drive productivity and growth, while unskilled residents struggle with insufficient, stagnating wages. Industry suffers without a skilled, diverse, and local workforce. East County is no exception. But the good news is that we have the space to expand development, we have the workforce, and we certainly have the will. Last year, I was pleased to introduce the Construction Diversity Equity Fund, a Multnomah County resolution that created a fund for pre-apprenticeship and vocational training for county construction projects. These kinds of policies build a pathway forward for residents to access highly sought-after jobs in the trades and to help them acquire the necessary hours and expertise needed to advance their careers. By improving job skills, we can meet the needs of our employers in targeted sectors with an applicant pool that is better trained and ready to work. We can leverage public-private partnerships to grow higher wage employment opportunities for people living in poverty, particularly women, people of color, and people who are immigrants and or refugees. I recently toured Mount Hood Community College's workforce program, and I'm so excited to see the Small Business Development Center from Mount Hood expand into the Rockwood Rising Catalyst site. We've seen boosts in entrepreneurial opportunities, creative programming that connects high schoolers with careers at Boeing, and vocational training that provides real-time education that is applicable for those starting a career right away. I believe our role as policy leaders in the region is to continue to support the expansion of these opportunities in East County, which is why I was so honored to be appointed to the Governor's Regional Solutions Leadership Team, and am pleased to announce that we've awarded $300,000 to the Rockwood Rising redevelopment for the Makerspace site in Gresham. These kinds of investments will continue to be a priority for me, and I'm committed to supporting economic development and job growth in East County. The funding for the Rockwood Rising, the Construction Apprenticeship Program, and Legal Services Day are just a few of the things that I am proud to have brought back to East County, and I look forward to sharing more successes as I continue my term on the board. And finally, I'm pleased to announce that I've been charged to lead the effort for the 2020 census for Multnomah County. During the last census in 2010, Oregon received over $13 billion each year as a result of the population count. For every person who is not counted, we stand to lose more than $10,000 over the next 10 years. That may not seem like a lot, but it adds up. The federal apportionment that results from the census pays for things like free and reduced school lunches, WIC, transportation planning, and helps businesses locate their services. And anyone who has ever applied for a grant from local, state, or the federal government knows that the census figures are the foundation to advocate for resources. If our count is not accurate, then those numbers can result in decreased funding for our communities and put more responsibility on our local jurisdictions. It is imperative for us to get an accurate count. And in order to do that, I need your help. Right now, we are offering informational sessions about the census, and we would love the opportunity to speak to as many groups as possible. We want to hear about the creative strategies that you may have on how you can help us get the word out. I want to thank you for having me today. I wish I could stay the whole day, but we are in the midst of our budget season, and I have work sessions. But Nathan Clark is in the back, and he is my policy director, and will be filling in for me and will be briefing me on today's outcomes. I want to thank EMEA for your continued work in East Multnomah County to coordinate and convene local businesses and our local governments to work together to bring economic prosperity and change to our region. I know last year's event was amazing, and I look forward to seeing the great things that will come out of this year's event that will continue to build the momentum for greater economic and social equity. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We want to bring up our a representative from our presenting sponsor here, Shabri Vickers, Vice President of Corporate Philanthropy and Community Relations, with some remarks from Wells Fargo. Give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Jarvez. And thank you, Lori, for your remarks earlier. I, too, am really excited to hear from Christian Kaler. In my recent time at Portland Community College, he was a guest that we continue to invite back because everything that he brings up is so important and imperative to the work that we'll all do today. So good morning again. My name is Shabri Vickers, and I'm our Community Development Officer for Wells Fargo and in Oregon and Southwest Washington. And I'm truly delighted to be here. I wasn't at last year's event, but I heard so many things and saw great photos. A few of you were there, so thanks for coming back. What I do know about my time recently working directly in this area is that East Multnomah County is distinct for a host of reasons, many of which have brought us here today, particularly. And I want to start by highlighting that really amazing sense of community that we had earlier. It took a while to just get us over to our seats, and I think that's because people are truly excited about what's happening in the region. And the vibrant community leaders and thought leaders who are here today are truly going to allow us to have some rich and robust discussions, so thank you for being here. A lot of the issues that will come up today will bestow upon all of us the opportunity to engage with a bias for action towards a realized benefit for our community members who have always called this space home, and for those who have more recently arrived. From opportunity zones to new transportation infrastructure and community development revitalization efforts, a lot is going on in the area. An intentional understanding of how these impending changes will affect East County is absolutely imperative. At Wells Fargo, we've been investing into the community for generations, and in just 2018, we gave over $444 million to support organizations and efforts across our enterprise, making us the #2 corporate philanthropic cash giver in the nation. And in 2019, United Way honored Wells Fargo for the 10th consecutive year as the #1 workplace giving campaign in the United States. And that's exciting, but it's exciting because of our team members. Our team members who, a few of which are here with us today, have donated over 2 million hours of volunteer time just in 2018 and continue to show up across our community as board members and as hands-on, engaged community members in their local communities across our state. The East Metro area is buoyed, of course, we all know this, by small business. And small business vitality is one of our primary philanthropic priorities continuing into 2020. Wells Fargo has served diverse-owned and small business since our founding in 1852, and we are dedicated to supporting small businesses moving forward, in particular to help Portland businesses prosper moving into the future. In fact, we've loaned over $59 billion to women-owned businesses just in the past 2 decades, and we're more committed than ever to help diverse entrepreneurs access the capital needed to achieve their dreams. In addition to traditional bank financing, we are making philanthropic investments to support diverse-owned small businesses through our Diverse Community Capital Program. With Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs, we are ensuring that those who want to start and support their businesses growing have access to capital and capacity building opportunities today. So whether you've engaged with Craft 3 or Ascent Funding or the AT&I Economic Development Commission or many others here locally, we are excited about their goals in supporting small business, and that continues to remain a priority for us moving forward. I wanted to share with you that locally across Oregon, our 4 primary, what we call philanthropic goals, are affordable housing, workforce and economic development, education, and health and human services. And so we're really excited this year in December to bring our Neighborhood Lift program back to Portland, which will invest an additional $6 million specifically to engage in homeowner leadership at the end of this year. And so that's direct down payment assistance for homeowners this year, which will bring our local giving to over $10 million just here in the state. So we're really excited about that. But more than that, I'm excited to hear everyone today. So thank you all for being here with us. And I look forward to the robust discussions that we'll have moving forward. Thank you so much.
And so right now, we are going to bring up Metro Councilor Shirley Craddick to talk about the Metro investment strategy. So give Shirley a big round of applause.
Good morning. Thank you, Jarvez, and thank you for this opportunity. Really appreciate it. As Commissioner Stegmann was saying, you have several of electeds that represent you in this region that really care a lot for this side of the region. My reason for running for office back in 2004 was the very reason that I want the east side of the region to be just as prosperous as the rest of the region, and really value the role that, be it on the Gresham City Council and later then on the Metro, the role that we can play to help make this an area that we all want to live and prosperous and do well. And so I thank the East Metro Economic Alliance and all the help that you're giving to make sure that we are achieving that. And so what I wanted to talk about now, and just take a few minutes, is talk about some of the work that Metro is doing to help along this notion of prosperity. So fortunately, the leaders and planners over 30 years ago recognized that one day our region would transform itself from a collection of mid-sized and small cities and towns into a major metropolitan region. That moment of transformation has arrived, driven by unprecedented growth in every corner of this region. As recently as just a year ago, more than 2,000 people moved to the greater Portland area every month. That is a TriMet bus full of people every day. Add bursts to that, and you've got nearly 1,000 new residents moving and living in this area each month. That rate of growth may slow, it may vary from year to year, but it's not going to stop anytime soon. Greater Portland is becoming a major metropolitan region. And all that growth has resulted in tremendous growth in our property values. For some of us, we're pleased to see that our houses and our businesses are worth more, our property, but it's also pinched the supply of safe and affordable homes for working families and for seniors and other people in our communities. Growth and a strong economy has also graced us with great job market, and that also means millions of people squeezing onto our roads and waiting for transit, crossing busy arterials and trying to find a safe way to walk or bike or work or get to school. Growth means increased pollution. It means more greenhouse gases are being emitted, and it's put pressure from increased development on our parks and our natural area, including fish and wildlife habitats, so critical to having a healthy environment. And too often, that greater burden of growing pains is borne by the communities of color. As Commissioner Stegmann was mentioning, who, because of this history of some of the laws that we have in our country and policies, have ongoing systemic inequities and don't always have the same opportunities to be as healthy, wealthy, and educated as our white neighbors. So the people of this region are hungry for solutions. We are willing to make smart investments. We're looking for leadership, and today we have the opportunity in that moment. And it's time for us to do our part for our kids and our grandchildren, and to ensure that the burdens and the benefits of living here are shared equitably. This takes a regional approach because, first of all, people have asked us to work on this. Second, we all know we can't count on the federal government or the state to pay for all our needs. Third, we need a regional approach because the challenges we face are truly regional in scope. Finally, we need a regional approach because we can accomplish so much more for our communities when we work together. So the Metro Council is directing an integrated strategy to create a more livable region for all of us by focusing on three fundamental issues that cross the city and the county lines, inside and outside the urban growth boundary. And that's housing, that's nature, and that's transportation. So I'm just going to do a brief overview of a couple of these, and then later today, Tyler Frisbee will be here, and we'll talk about Metro's 2020 plans for our transportation funding measure that we will likely approach the voters in 2020. So thank you to those of you that voted, but as you recall, the voters approved Metro's Regional Affordable Housing Bond in November. That bond will allow our region to create more than 12,000, enough homes for more than 12,000 people. That's really tens of thousands of people over the life of these properties. The bond passed in all three counties, And the need is evident in all 3 counties. We see rising rents, in homelessness, in families priced out of the communities. The housing bond won't solve our housing crisis by any means, but it will make a significant dent. The resources are targeted to serve those with the greatest need: seniors on fixed incomes, people experiencing homelessness, and communities of color. Before the housing bond, we didn't have a regional tool to fund affordable homes in our region. 95% of the resources dedicated to affordable homes were restricted to the city of Portland. So we're doing something new. We're collecting resources as a regional level, working across jurisdictions to align our systems to maximize efficiencies, and local partners are choosing the projects that make the best sense for their community. No other region in the country is taking this kind of regionally coordinated approach to address our housing challenges. It's impressive, and we should be really proud. But most importantly, together, we're going to make a really big difference for the kids who grow up here and the grandparents who grow old in these affordable homes. So just an update. The Metro Council has appointed a community oversight committee with representatives from people throughout the region. And their first job will be to review and recommend implementation strategies with this measure that were being brought forward by our partners. Metro is simply a funding agency in this challenge, and it's up to the cities and the counties to make the decisions about what kind of housing they're going to build in their city. So once the program is up and running, the committee's role will be to monitor and report and recommend on implementation improvements to the Metro Council as we move through this. Parks and nature are something we all treasure living here. You know, it's often when you ask someone, you meet someone new, and you ask them, what made you choose to live in Oregon? What made you choose to live in the Portland area? And oftentimes that response is nature, it's the parks, it's the beauty of the area. It's part of our common DNA. Those of us that have grown up in Oregon, it's something that we really value. As a region, we've done a lot to protect these treasures. Thank you to all of you that have helped us do this. The Metro Council is reconsidering a renewal of our parks bonding measure in 2019. This investment will allow Metro and our partners, because this money is shared with all the local jurisdictions, to continue to grow our region's momentum in protecting clean water and clean air, restoring wildlife and fish habitat, and particularly connecting people to nature, while also meeting our challenges brought by the pace of growth and the development across Greater Portland. It's our beauty that makes us all want to live here, and it's the beauty that we want to make sure is still here, even as more people are here. It's not all becomes cement. Metro is working closely with our local jurisdictions and our community partners and other stakeholders to develop a proposal for that renewal. So the council is committed to a proposal that reflects our shared values and our commitment, and particularly to racial equity by protecting culturally significant lands, working with the tribes on identifying those important properties, preventing displacement of our communities, and ensuring that every neighborhood has access to parks and natural areas. And then finally, our third initiative that we're working on is our transportation system. Greater Portland is a wonderful place to live, work, and play, but getting from here to there across our region can be a real challenge these days. Our commutes are longer, our rush hours seem to be all day instead of a few hours each day, and getting out of town sometimes is just really stressful. It doesn't have to be this way. The people of our region deserve a transportation system that is safe and reliable and affordable, and that it meets our needs whether we are driving, walking, rolling, taking transit, or riding a bicycle. We've invested well in our city centers. Now it's time to connect our communities in ways that work for all of us and reduce pollution. And getting around Greater Portland should be a bright spot in our day, not something that we dread or that creates a significant pain. So for the next several years, we have these rolling timelines that we're focusing on in these different initiatives. And elections and implementation of these investments will require a great deal of time and attention from the Metro Council and the 27 other elected governments who we all work together in this region. But we also need strong engagement from you and counsel from the people in our community, business, and from our business leaders and our other stakeholders who help us shape these priorities and policies and investments. The good news is we can do this. Our communities want this, and we know that we can do it. And so as the phrase goes, let's get moving. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And before we get to our keynote address from Mr. Christian Kaler, we are at East Metro Economic Alliance a partnership really to address some of the most pressing economic issues and economic vitality in the East Metro region, which consists of our 4 cities in particular: Gresham, Fairview, Wood Village, and Troutdale. And we couldn't have an event like this without having an update about what's going on in our cities.
Wood Village has got a wonderful, wonderful place. We are everything you ever wanted in 1 square mile. Inside that 1 square mile, we have 31 acres fully developed and ready to go under the ownership of the Grand Ronde tribes. It's called the Wood Village Town Center. There's already about 25 acres fully developed. That's Fred Meyer and Coles and so on. And then behind that, what used to be the Greyhound Park properties is another 31 acres ready to develop now. We get to meet with the economic development people from the Grand Ronde next week, trying to remarket this property. And we're excited about the potential that the property has for this community and for the region.
So it's kind of uncommon to have a city hall site for sale and then subsequently sold and redeveloped. However, this site is on 5.5 acres of prime real estate, almost known as the 100% corner. So the city council, knowing it's an asset for the community, said, hey, let's see if there's an interest in having that out on the market, generate some tax revenue, generate a benefit for the community that could last for generations. So they did. We got a wonderful partner in that development, Williams and Dame. They're building about 10,000 square feet of retail along the Halsey frontage here. Then the rest of the site will be programmed towards fairly moderate multifamily units, about 170 or so units. So it's going to be a great project. About 2 years in the making. We're coming up right to the finish line now on the close and sale of that deal. So construction will begin. Well, it's beginning now, some fill work, and then real construction begins probably later this summer. So we're all really excited about it. It's also kind of been a catalyst site for some other works along Halsey, a 61 unit multifamily complex that's pretty high end just to the east of here. A few more kind of mid-range units to the west of here. So a lot of stuff happening in Halsey, and we're really excited about the project here. Since we sold City Hall, we need a new City Hall site. The council took a long look at where we could go, what could be a boon to the area. Council said, hey, why are we taking more land off the tax rolls? Let's go where we already own. That's our Donald Robertson Park. So at the front end of that, just to the south of the Halsey Street, basically will be our new City Hall, what's being programmed. A really nice space. We'll have space where the community can rent it. It'll be right there at the park. We can do enhancements to that. So the whole project along Halsey is just going to really grow up and be something special for the community and all of our guests.
And Wood Village is open for business.
Much of the work that we do in economic development for the city of Gresham is based on retention and recruitment, and that really places a heavy focus on real estate assets. Right now in the city of Gresham, we have 1.7 million square feet of speculative industrial space constructed, ready for a tenant. We're really excited about having that real estate available. Oftentimes when companies are looking to expand or relocate, they're looking for space that's available today. They don't have time to build a building on their own. So having that speculative space available gives us a lot of options when companies are looking, and it's really a busy time right now in terms of both expansion and recruitment. We are really excited about Element 6 joining the Gresham community. Element 6 is building a 60,000 square foot world-class manufacturing facility at the Gresham Vista Business Park on an 8-acre site. They are under construction now, which is really exciting. They hope to commission the building at the end of this summer. Equipment process manufacturing, placement of that equipment is going to take a little bit longer, so they won't be producing product until early next year, and they'll be employing about 60 people. Total investment's about $95 million at the project, so we're really, really excited about that. Another project we're really excited about here in Gresham is the Rockwood Rising project in the Urban Renewal District. Rockwood Rising is a mixed-use development that's going to focus on providing services to people of Rockwood. Nearly 50,000 square feet of the Rockwood Rising project is going to be focused on job and skill building and entrepreneurial development training for folks in Rockwood and Gresham. Some key tenants that are going to locate in Rockwood Rising include the Small Business Development Center with Mount Hood Community College, MetroEast Community Media, and WorkSource Oregon. So a lot of service providers are going to be located right in the center of Rockwood Rising to make sure that residents get the services they need close to home. We're really excited to share that the Rockwood Rising project is going to break ground sometime this year with completion scheduled for 2021. Gresham is open for business.
City of Fairview has instituted an urban renewal, and in the urban renewal it ties into the Main Streets and Halsey as a funding mechanism for a lot of the infrastructure projects we want to do, primarily the park and ride at the PG right away, the roundabouts. So urban renewal will be used to spur development and invite businesses to take up root in Fairview. We're all pretty excited about the list of projects that we're putting on it. You will see a very transformed Fairview in pretty short order. Main Streets on Halsey is a multi-jurisdictional program between Metro, Fairview, Wood Village, and Troutdale with other community partners to revitalize the Halsey corridor from 207th all the way to the river. It has started in 2016, and we are getting pretty close to doing a lot of the remarkable things that we've been looking to do for the last 3 or 4 years. They're going to be roundabouts, structural changes to all of Halsey, all the way down. We're going to have a uniformed code between all 3 cities and a uniformed look so that people in East County and people who visit East County will enjoy the experience. A lot of people are really excited about a lot of things. Again, one of the concepts that we're playing with is a roundabout on 207th and Fairview Parkway. It's a way to slow down the traffic, and we will also use it as a gateway, as an entrance into Fairview and into all of Halsey, really. Fairview is open for business.
One of the best things about Troutdale is we have a quaint little downtown, and I believe that we're on the cusp of some much better things. We have some new buildings going in. We had 10 new townhomes/condos put in downtown, and they sold really quick. But one thing I think is missing and that the council and the city is going to start tackling is branding Troutdale. I'm not sure we've done a good job of that. In fact, I know we haven't done a good job of that. And so the next steps forward is to actually brand our downtown, brand Troutdale. What I hear a lot in the metro area is Troutdale is a truck stop, an outlet mall, and where they send the rookie news people when the weather's bad. So, but I will say most recently what I hear is, oh, that's where Sugar Pine Drive-In is, right? And so it's funny how a business after 8 months can be like defined as Troutdale, right? We have started the cleanup on our urban renewal to lay the infrastructure to get it ready for sale, make it more shovel ready. And so we're in the process of that. We've accomplished quite a bit. We're in the middle of tearing down the few remaining buildings that were down there, and I'm hoping to get that cleaned up and then up for sale in the next little bit. We'll be starting on the waterfront park development down there, and so we got plans in place for that also. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting project. It's just it's a long time coming. It's had a rocky history, but I feel like we're on the right track right now. Troutdale is open for business.
But we're going to move right into our local business panel, brought to you by Wells Fargo, and they're going to be facilitating. We're going to bring up Bess Wills, Lila Leathers, and Dan Corcoran, and they are going to talk to you about some local business issues. So give them a big round of applause.
Okay, let's start out and just give Christian Kaler one more round of applause. That information is always extremely exciting. I've always personally been a fan of Christian, and I appreciate all of this. I downloaded the files as soon as you mentioned, so I have them on my phone, and I can't take any pictures because it's full now. But thank you for the time, and thank you all still for being here. We're really excited just to be able to talk with, and thank you, Jarvis, for telling me local business instead of just small business. So we'll talk to some of our local business owners here. And I'd like to just start out and ask you to just introduce yourself and the business that you lead here in the local community. We'll start out with Bess.
Do we stand up or sit down? What do we do?
Whichever you'd like.
Okay, we'll sit down. Okay, so I'm Bess Wills, Gresham Ford, and I'm going to take a little jab at Jarvis. I do feel we're a small business, okay? Gresham Ford, dealer with a heart. Because I know the names of every one of my employees. I know their kids' names. You know, I know those things. And every 2 weeks I sign a check to them. So when you do that, I think you're a small business. We're not, as a matter of fact, I want everybody in the room, I want to raise your hand if you employ people and you sign the check, and if there's not money in the account, you put the money in the account. Raise your hand. And I think that's the challenge here today, is that small business is underrepresented.
Thank you, Bess.
I'm Lila Leathers, and
A little closer. Just closer to your...
Okay, I'm Lila Leathers, and I have Leathers Oil Company, and I am the president. And like Bess, I feel we have a small business. We have numerous outlets, but it's still a small business.
I'm Dan Corcoran from McDonald & Weddle. We do commercial roofing, and we're a small business with about 150 roofers here in Gresham.
Great. Thank you all for introducing yourselves as small businesses or local businesses, business owners who are here with us today. So thank you so much for taking the time. So this, we're going to go quickly here because we all enjoyed a lot of what Christian brought us, but we want to ensure that we're able to just understand a bit more about the climate and what our small and local businesses are doing and how they're engaging here in the region. So Lila, can you start by describing the climate for your business and industry here in East Portland, East Metro area?
We have a wonderful climate. We enjoy our customers, but one of the issues we're facing right now is the carbon tax, and I think you've all heard of that. That's going on in the legislature, and it'll add 16 cents a gallon to your gas price. And I think that we've done a lot of things in our industry to alleviate a lot of the fumes that were in the air before, like the catalytic converter, the extra expensive hoses and nozzles, etc. And other than that, that's my biggest challenge right now.
Thank you, Lila. Bess?
Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're having tremendous challenges right now. From the statistics that you just saw, we're getting taxed at the rate of those really successful businesses in downtown. In our industry alone, last legislative, I thought about driving here today, and I said, how can I tell you this story the most succinctly? And I make all the managers at our business watch The Lion King, because there's a circle of life. And I thought about when there gets to be a supermajority in anything, the circle of life gets out of balance. And I think that's kind of what's happening to us here, is that everyone wants the best for everybody. I mean, I work hard to fill our food bank every year. We want the best for our employees. We want the best for, our community. But a gross receipts tax to our business is just catastrophic. We sold $55 million worth of product last year because we sell cars. 500 of those were police interceptors, of which we have the state bid and make less than $350 a unit. So we're a 0.07% business. So if you tack on a 0.57% tax, even if you subtract 35% of the costs, you can well imagine that some of those 70 families that I employ, the only place I have to look to do something is in my labor. Because I can't shut off the lights, I can't tell the liability insurance person no. And so the problem is in East County, we have one of the lowest labor rates in our service shop. Well, we have the lowest labor rate in service shop of all Ford dealers in the metro because we service the lowest population of, they can afford the least. But we're getting taxed at the same rate as everybody else. So it's a very, very scary time for someone like a business like ours. Because not only last legislative session, we got the privilege tax, was 0.05%. We got 0.1% payroll tax. We got a $13 registration fee, a $13 title fee, and then this legislative session, we're going to be enjoying some of the things from the cap and trade and the other things. And so it's just hugely, small business is carrying the weight. And so when I said about the Lion King, we all have to have a win. But those of us in lower economic areas, businesses, will be the zebra that dies first because we're the slowest. You know what I'm saying? We're the slowest. So I think, people need to think about that. We all need each other, and it needs to be a win-win for everybody, not just one segment.
Thank you, Bess. Don, the climate here and how it affects your business and industry.
I just want to be the third slowest zebra.
Third slowest.
I think the largest, other than the carbon tax, obviously, since the only waterproof substance out there is oil, and we install only oil-based products on everybody's roof, you're welcome. I think the largest impact on our business is workforce, and those statistics, we've been feeling that for the last 5 years as our workforce continues to age and getting close to retire or are retiring. And we don't have a wave of tradespeople coming in and replacing them at any rate. It's helpful with community college that they have the apprenticeship program that they can earn college credit while they're doing their apprenticeship in electrical, plumbing, roofing, those types of things. So that's helpful. But we don't have, if you have your bachelor's degree and you're a millennial and you're living in the Pearl District, you aren't going to come and mop tar and install roofs. So we definitely have a huge looming gap in that area.
Right. So we've heard workforce issues, the carbon tax issue, and all of the tax issues recently, especially. We just heard so much from Christian Kaler about the differences between just west of 82nd and east of 82nd. However, we hear that from a business perspective, those same issues and delineations that we make affect you all differently, whether from workforce or tax issues.
And
Go ahead, Lila.
One other thing they have before the legislature is the time that we have to pay an employee to have off from work. And one of the bills was actually 33 weeks a year that we would have to front for family, medical, whatever. And it wasn't just for your husband or your wife, someone that was your child. It was for anybody for almost any reason. And when I was talking with the legislature, Senator Lori Anderson, I asked her, well, what am I supposed to do with this person that I hired to fill this guy's position when he comes back to work? Because I have to guarantee that person that I am paying to stay home, I have to guarantee that person's job when they come back. How about this guy? So that's another one of my burning issues.
Thanks for sharing that. I'm heartened that we have some of our elected officials who are here and some of their staff members to continue to hear from our small business owners around some of the issues that they're facing. So we heard some of the challenges, but what are some of the positive things about doing business here in East County? What are some of the things that you celebrate, the reason you're still here?
I think one of the things I enjoy a lot are the people. I love the people of the community. We have some of the greatest people I think there are. I love our Chamber of Commerce. I have to give Lynn a plug. She is doing a phenomenal job. And I like interacting with the other business owners, especially Beth. She says it like it is, and I love it.
Well, I do love the whole community thing because I do think that we do work together, in general, really, really well. I think that my husband's Hispanic and I'm a woman, and so we never thought we would ever own a car dealership, when he was living on the other side of the tracks in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was growing up on a ranch somewhere. But we both worked really, really hard, and today we have a successful business. And neither of us have a college degree. So I love that about our community, that there's a way for us all to have a successful business and to help our community and work together. I mean, I take as much joy in doing the fill-a-bag program for Snowcap as I do selling cars. And so, that is a wonderful thing because we all love, I do think we all love our community. It's just figuring out how to solve all of our issues.
Don?
The community is a huge piece of it. Born and raised Greshamite. And I think the other piece that's for us is a huge advantage is being close to freeways, access to move materials, receive materials. And there's this thing on the east side that we have a huge advantage in. It's called surface streets. And there just aren't any on the west side. So as long as we have projects downtown and east, there's a lot easier way to move materials around.
Great. So we've heard some good things, a few positive things, and some challenges. We have a short and truncated amount of time, but I'd love to know from the three of you, what do you see on the horizon? What are you looking forward to, and how can the folks who are in the room, who were sitting next to you earlier, be a part of supporting you in that traction and moving towards the future and your goals towards those things?
One thing I see is the transportation. I think we need to stop taking our lanes from our roads and dedicating it. I know bicyclists want a place to ride their bicycles, but I think we can coexist. In other words, we need wider roads, more lanes basically, so we can get in and out, because of course we haul all of our own product to our stations around the state. So I like for my trucks to have easy ingress and egress, so that we can get there in a timely manner and a safe manner, safe first of all. But I think that we need to look at what we're doing to the roads, because just like Foster Road, we've now taken 2 lanes off of that, and now we have a 2-lane road instead of a 4-lane road. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or anyone with a college degree to know if you take away 2 lanes, that's going to double the capacity for the 2 lanes that are left, and that slows traffic down.
Okay, what could I ask all of you doing that are sitting next to me today? I'm saying I'd like you to hold our electeds accountable to common sense. How many of you know that if you steal a car in Multnomah County, you are not prosecuted? How many of you know that? Okay. For 3 years, we've tried to pass in the legislature the ability to prosecute car thefts, and it hasn't happened yet because our electeds think it might cost too much. Well, you know what we've done? We've gone from being way down here to up with Chicago in car thefts. We're at 5th in the nation for the Metro for car thefts because the car thieves know we don't prosecute. And so, you know, I get it that you're not, I get it that you don't care. My liability insurance went up $25,000 a year because of that. But the single mom trying to get her kids to daycare in a car so she can get herself out of poverty, her car insurance went up too. So when you think it just, it's just business complaining again, it's not. It's because of poor, the weakest among us are going to be, and I'm going back to the Serengeti, okay? The weakest among us are the ones that are hurt the most.
Bess, before we move on to Don, any thoughts about what's on the horizon for you? What are you hoping to do in the next 5 years?
Stay in business, quite frankly.
There you go. Okay.
I try it. Truly, I just want in the next 5 years, our industry, and I'm really excited about Ford Motor Company, about their investment into vehicles. I hope on the horizon we use common sense again. Compressed natural gas has 0 emissions, and we don't have a distribution for it anywhere. So we can have electric vehicles, but really their imprint on the world is not, with all the lead and the batteries and all that kind of stuff. Compressed natural gas is an answer, but we have no distribution system for that. Right now, I could upfit an F-150 with a compressed natural gas component, and it would have 0 emissions, but there's no distribution system, and we could have that. Lila's stepson, Mark at Star Oil, has been working on a way that you could just tap into your home natural gas to fill your car and that kind of thing, but we don't talk about common sense answers to some of these problems.
Don, on the horizon, and how can we support you?
The future, I think, as those millennials outgrow the Pearl District and move back out to the suburbs, I think East County is going to continue to grow, and all the construction that we've seen and all the growth that's been building up, if it slows down, we'll be at a new plateau. I don't think we will see a decrease in growth. I think that growth might just migrate out more towards the outlying areas. So there's definitely hope for East County.
Great. Well, let's give a round of applause to the 3 small and local business owners in the area. I know we're rapidly moving on to the next piece, and so we won't keep you any longer, but thank you for the work. And I think one of the things that's a takeaway certainly is the positive, which was community. And those are you all who have joined us here today to talk about how we can make the East Metro region the best for our community moving forward. So thank you all.